So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host Saieed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, viewers. In the news tonight, Minister of Public Utilities Barry Patharat has confirmed that Dane Maraj has been appointed chairman of the Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program, CEPEP.
So as I've indicated before, they have been working assiduously over the past couple of weeks. We had some additions to the board, and those names will be made public. I think the last check I had, it was 7 persons.
But who will be who will be heading the board?
The head of the board of CEPEP will be Mr. Dean Maharaj.
Now viewers, however, there is still no clear timeline for hiring new contractors, a move that could potentially pave the way for the re-employment of recently terminated workers. The minister added that the board has been in place for the past month, but it had not yet been publicly announced as some appointments were still being finalized. Now, it's been over a month now, I believe, that no one from the CEPEP development, the workers, have made a day work anyway. So what I am asking tonight is that Mr. Barry, see how fast the board could be appointed, because August is coming, and yes, we understand that CEPEP has gotten their monthly salary for July. We understand that, but August is coming. School terms begins in September, and I would like to see the CEPEP workers going back to their jobs. I would like to see that before September. Now, with CEPEP workers not working, the community across Trinidad and Tobago, rain is falling, grass is growing. Remember, CEPEP workers used to clean the place. They have the place clean. In some areas used to be really, really developed, nice. Flowers, nice lawn. The place used to look good with the CEPEP workers and them. We're not putting them down. They used to have Trinidad and Tobago beautified in a different way. Right? All well and good. The ULC came into power. They terminated contractors who they find were fraudulent. We understand that. Trying to root out corruption from the root. All well and good. But the board needs to be functional. The board needs to be functional. So tonight I am asking Minister Barry Padarat, who is the Minister of Public Utilities, to see how fast and how best you all could put the board together and have it up and running. Please, see how fast you could do that. Now, ask about the board. Immediate mandate. Padarat said it will be to review the operation of CEPEP. Listen to this.
Well, the immediate mandate has been to review the operations of CEPEP. As you are aware, the audits are being done right now with respect to the extension of over 323 contracts, as well as the operations in terms of the company itself. There are a number of employees that remain at the company of CEPEP, so that is being also reviewed. One of the main things that the board is looking at is the audited financial statement. CEPEP has not been audited for the last 7 years. So that is one of the main things that they've been mandated to focus on in terms of getting audited financial statements available to the Parliament, which by law is required to be laid in the House of Representatives.
So Trinidad and Tobago, that is one of the reasons why CEPEP is not up and running as yet. But I hope, and I'm asking Barry tonight on national television to see how fast they could wrap up this and have CEPEP functional again. Even the URP, even the reforestation workers, find some way to create something that they will be able to have a job, an income coming in. So I'm pleading for the CEPEP workers, the reforestation workers, and the URP workers. Yes, we understand that whatever took place, they put a stop to the corruption, mismanagement of fund, whatever it is. But, people need to start back working. Moving along, former Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Faris Al-Rawi, is pushing back against claims by the government that the Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program, CEPEP, was being used to finance criminal activities. Al-Rawi dismissed suggestion that CEPEP and the Unemployment Relief Program, URP, functioned as criminal empire under the PNM, as implied by Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Now, he noted that during the People's Partnership Administration from 2010 to 2015, CEPEP operated with even a larger budget, citing a 726 million allocation between 2014 and 2015, compared to 358 million under the PNM. Listen to this.
For the record, in the period 2010 to 2015, CEPEP ran very large programs under the UNC. And in the year 2014 to 2015, the subvention from the UNC was $725,705,808. Let me repeat that. $726 million was spent in CEPEP, as compared to $358 million spent by the PNM government.
Now, viewers, however, he did not clarify the time frame of the PNM figures. So you're quoting a PNM figure, you're quoting a UNC figure, but you're letting Trinidad and Tobago know how long the UNC ran it for at a figure of $726 million. You're letting Trinidad and Tobago know that. But what you're not letting Trinidad and Tobago know is the time frame that the money was spent under the PNM. Why? Why? So on one side, you're calling the UNC bad and showing Trinidad and Tobago how much money they spent. But on the other side now, you're saying PNM spent money, but you're not saying how much years they take to accumulate the money. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this one more time. Al-Rawi, he noted that during the People's Partnership Administration from 2010 to 2015, CEPEP operated with an even larger budget, citing $726 million allocated between 2014 and 2015. So you're telling Trinidad and Tobago, right, that between 2014 and 2015, UNC spent $726 million. Compare to $358 million under the PNM, but you're not telling the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago how long did you all take to spend $358 million. But you give UNC a figure of $726 million from 2014 to 2015. So how long, Al-Rawi, did you all take to spend $358 million? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months? Don't be biased now. You're giving the people information. Balance it on a scale. Now, on the issue of criminal links, Al-Rawi said he received just one report from TTPS about CEPEP tied to the beneficial owner and laws introduced by PNM to identify the true owners of companies. Now, he stressed there were no other police report during his tenure. Al-Rawi.
I can tell you as line minister for a short while for CEPEP, I received one report from the police as to a questionable issue coming from beneficial ownership law, which I introduced with this government, led by this government. We passed law to go behind the true owners of companies. And that was referred quickly to the permanent secretary and other places for action. And I am shocked because I've received no other police reports in that regard.
So I wonder if the UNC now I wonder if Barry could be brave, like Al-Rawi, and make a report and publish who was the contractors, who was the criminals that were receiving contracts in CEPEP and URC, in CEPEP and URP. Can Barry make this public so Trinidad and Tobago will know who is criminals? So while the UNC is doing that, just saying, right, if they have the gall to bring out the names of the people. So while the UNC, I say, should do that, let Trinidad and Tobago know who was the criminals getting CEPEP contract. On the other side now, we have police department now doing a track record on these individuals and them, so we would know, Trinidad and Tobago, we would know who had a criminal history through TTPS, and if they were in fact getting contracts. if CPEP have criminals getting contract, that is the easiest way to let the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago know that, hey, John is a criminal. He was proven to be a criminal under TTPS. And he was getting contracts now under the PNM administration, and look at the amount of contracts he got. Proof beats all talk. I just tell anybody that. Proof will beat all talk. Al-Rawi also rejected what he called a manufactured narrative of cooperation, claiming it was being driven by former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan, SC, whom he accused of having a personal vendetta due to a matter Al-Rawi referred to the police during his tenure. It's sad, yes? But I'll tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. Proof is what you need. All the Minister of Public Utility for UNC have to do is publish the names and the companies in a newspaper article. Release it to Trinidad and Tobago. And let the police now investigate these individuals. And when the police do a background check on these persons and them who got contracts from UNC, my mistake, from PNM, then we will know if it's criminal or not. It is very simple. You see, the people wants to know who is criminal, what criminal got contracts. Let us know. Let us know. Transparency is the key thing here, you know. And that now, people would understand what the UNC is doing. So all the backlash coming from this and all the protests coming from this, it's simple. It's simple. Mouth says one thing, fact says another thing. And that is all we need. So Mr. Barry, Minister of Public Utilities for the UNC, can that be done? That is what I'm asking tonight. Can that be done to put this whole CEPEP bacchanal and the URP bacchanal and the reforestation bacchanal, put it to rest? That's all we need. Put it to rest. So people from CEPEP now who protesting that, hey, you know, the UNC make we unemployed and now we have to look for a job. I want to let you understand one thing. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago decide to change political party because we the citizens did not like how our country was being run, number one, and two, how we were being treated as individuals. So transparency, Barry, let me tell you something, that's the simplest thing. And I wish, hopefully, that you could do that. Hoping. You never know. You never know, my words might come to pass, Trinidad and Tobago. But let's wait and see. Transparency is the key thing, eh? The UNC talk about transparency. Every single one of them talk about transparency. So let us put the whole CEPEP matter to rest. And I am asking for transparency. Moving along now, Trinidad and Tobago. President of the Unified Teachers Association, Martin Lumpkin, has stated that the entire public sector is looking forward to getting a fair and just settlement. Already, Tutor is cautioning the need for responsible negotiation. Listen to this.
The geopolitical influences also impacted on Tutor's decision. Tutor is still mindful of the economic situation which our nation continues to face. We look forward to the entire public sector getting a fair and just settlement.
So now I want to let you understand, I'm dealing with it step by step. I want to let you understand something. He understands the crisis that Trinidad and Tobago is in. He understands that. Also, he understands that he wants the public sector to have a fair share. We understand that. So stick a pen right there, Trinidad and Tobago. I want to show you something. Now, after this, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar said she was placing her faith in God to help finance a proposed 10% wage increase for public servant. Listen to this now.
God willing, we keep our promises. God willing, we will keep our promise. Still working on it. Looking for money. If you have any, give us some.
So now, Trinidad and Tobago, since I have known Kamala Persad-Bissessar, she always refers to God. Whether she in party, out of party, she always refers to God. Right? It is going in almost 100 days now that the UNC is in power. She hoped to God, have faith in God. When Earl Haywood Christopher used the term God in fighting crime is a different thing. Now, let me explain myself. Earl said, pray. Everybody just pray. Everybody just pray. But it takes TTPS to fix crime in Trinidad and Tobago. It didn't take God. Because an individual will think upon himself and run into your house and rob you and kill you and shoot you and rape the mother and daughters. Who doing that? God doing that? No, an individual, a human being doing that. So, when Earl said that, I labeled her right here on national television. Earl, don't tell me about pray and let's see if the crime go drop. No, we have TTPS to battle the crime. We have TTPS to battle the crime. In that way, once TTPS get off their butt and officers on the ground, crime will stop or slow down. Or slow down. Good. We're going back to Kamala now. Run back that video there.
God willing, we keep our promises. God willing, we will keep our promise. Still working on it. Looking for money. If you have any, give us some.
God willing, she will keep her promise. So Trinidad and Tobago, they have been in office for less than 3 months. They still have 4 years and 7 months to go. 4 years and 7 months. Good? Nice. Now listen to this. Listen to this, eh? And then listen to Trinidad and Tobago. I am like to explain myself, you know. So those who call and say, oh, side, you're bashing the government. Let me tell you something. Your intellect have to be very high to deal with me. Very, very high. Because I will dismantle a tree and show you every part of the tree and the meaning for that part on the tree to help the tree grow. So listen to this now. Her remarks have sparked mixed reaction among labor leaders, with some cautiously optimistic, while others are calling for concrete action and transparency. Concrete action. Run that last video there for me.
Let us get rid of the gimme attitude.
Every road to be built in this country has to be built by the government. Every school, every health center, every this, every that. Because in this country, for the last generation or two, we've grown up on the government. Well, you better begin to be weaned off the government, because the government's shoulder cannot carry the burden anymore.
Her remarks sparked mixed reaction among labor leaders. When Rowley tell her, let her wean off the government, what they did? What they did? All they're telling a party who now come in power for less than 3 months, all they're calling for concrete action and transparency. That is what the labor leaders calling for. Concrete action. There are boards still to be assigned. Their managers still needs to be put in place. But earlier, the labor leaders want concrete evidence. Or want concrete and why all they didn't tell the labor leader or the labor minister for the PNM administration, why all they didn't call for concrete action? Or let's say something now, man. Or let's say something. I want to hear earlier. You see, the right thing is the right thing and the wrong thing is the wrong thing. The wrong thing could never be the right thing. When all I tell Dr. Rowley, we want 4%. Wait tell earlier. Wean off the government. What Rowley tell earlier? Wean off the government. Did Kamala tell her wean off the government? She just shun her party, just came in power. Less than 100 days. All her first 100 days in office, all the crime fighting plan. What? Wait, went? Or let's say something. This is why I just tell people, me asking nobody for $1 to run an ad on Real Talk. You know why? Because what I am saying now might fall in somebody's garden and they go war back the dollar. The right thing is the right thing. The labor leaders, they want concrete action. Why didn't tell Rowley what concrete action? Rowley said his government is not shutting down the refinery. Who shut it down? The PNM cabinet shut it down. Why you didn't ask for concrete action back then? Where was Jennifer Primus? When last or let's see her? The right thing is the right thing. Oral Sanders, former General Secretary for the Public Service Association, the PSA, said PM's comments are concerning and the risks appearing politically symbolic rather than strategies. The woman now come in office. The woman now come in office. There are still boards to be put in place. How long Marvin was the Minister of National Security for? What changed under his administration? How long Hines was the Minister of National Security? What changed under his administration? Did Trinidad and Tobago crime ease up? Or let's say something. I ain't here to defend UNC, you know. But I'm here to tell all you, when Rowley told earlier to wean off the government, every single labor leaders, you know what I'm telling them out? Nobody couldn't say nothing again. Not one labor leader protested. Not one labor leader come forward. Not one labor leader said, You know why? Jennifer Primus, her boss, which is Dr. Keith Rowley, who was the head and the leader of the PNM administration, told earlier, wean off my government. Why you didn't bump all your gum back then? It's 9 years on TV, you know. 9 years, you know. Why? Let me tell you something. The right thing is the right thing and the wrong thing is the wrong thing. Rock back and relax on yourself. There's a new administration in place. that is what I have to tell all you. So viewers, let me tell you something. In 2019, the PNM, Dr. Keith Rowley said his government could not care. Oh, my mistake. His government could not carry the weight of the hard-working taxpayers. And this is what he said one more time.
Let us get rid of the gimme attitude.
Every road to be built in this country has to be built by the government. Every school, every health center, every this, every that. Because in this country, for the last generation or two, we've grown up on the government. Well, you better begin to be weaned off the government, because the government's shoulder cannot carry the burden anymore.
So if Dr. Keith Rowley couldn't carry it for 9 years, and a new party now installed less than 100 days, well, I want concrete evidence. All about concrete action. When I learned for 9 years eating boulders. All I didn't ask for concrete action. I ain't picking up for nobody, you know. But the writing is the writing. The writing is the writing. So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, Young denies gang grouping claims when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over, with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Report Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So welcome back to Real Talk viewers. Stuart Young has refuted Prime Minister Kamal Pasabis's claims that gang leaders were grouped together in Building 13 at the maximum security prison. Speaking at a press briefing on Wednesday, he defended the facility used as security measures during his tenure, blaming later change for any issue. Stuart.
These nefarious leaders, and that they were meeting together in yards, etc., there was a need to separate them. And Building 13 was identified because it was empty, it was sterilized, all that needed to be put in was put in, and it was with the complete agreement of the Commissioner of Prisons at the time and the prison service.
Now viewers, Young said prisoners are under control by the prison officers and not ministers nor police commissioner. Young stated that inmates were kept apart and closely monitored under a system involving masked rotating officers.
So at no point in time could the prisoners know who they were, and they were rotated so no relationships could be formed and a prison officer, because prisons are under the control of the prison officers. And it worked. Unfortunately, and I can even say that in the utilization of it and putting some of the leaders into Building 13 separate, they were not allowed to meet together. And it worked for a time. Unfortunately, as I said, all a government can do is introduce policy.
So now viewers, Prasad Bisasa said the former administration decision created conditions that enabled gang coordination and criminal activity behind bars. Young, however, noted that condition changed at Building 13.
Because at the time, it was properly carried out. So, it is very, very fictitious for the Prime Minister to come and say what she did yesterday and try to lay that. But I understand it, the personal attacks, that is her way. But I am sure that if you go to the Commissioner of Police at the time, he will tell you much more on what it was, the concept of Building 13, and how successful it was, until, unfortunately, those in charge of the prisons decided to do otherwise.
So those are the prisons decided to do otherwise. So if they decided to do otherwise, don't they still have to come to the Ministry of National Security for final authorization? I don't know, Stuart, I'm just asking. Now, meanwhile, Prison Officers Association President Gerard Gordon said the facility was originally built as a pre-release center and was never intended to hold high-risk offenders. Well, something new is in the market now. A new pot is boiling. A new pot is boiling. Gerard Gordon said the facility was originally built as a pre-release center. So I'm assuming pre-release meaning if you have a month, 2 months again to spend time in prison, they might take you from Block A and put you in Block B, which was designed now for a pre-release center. That is the only way I could see it. But nevertheless, we're going to leave Stuarty there for now because I have some more information to share, but I want to give Stuarty time to express himself now, you know? You know, he likes to express himself. I love to watch him talk. Nevertheless, we're moving along now. Attorney General John Jeremy has revealed that he personally visited detainees at the Tetron facility last week to ensure they were alive and being treated appropriately. This came as he elaborated on the government's move to relocate certain prisoners from the maximum security prison after the state of emergency was implemented. Listen to this.
We are committed as a government, committed to the rule of law, to attempting to strike that balance between the rights of the individual and the rights of the men in the society. it was that fact that drove me to pay a visit to the detainees in Tetron last week before cabinet. And I spoke to them. I went into their cells and I spoke with them. I am not fielding requests for meals and better this and so on and so forth. I saw the premises, and I am not a prison expert, but I thought it was my responsibility to see that they were alive, that they were being treated appropriately, given the nature of the threat that we face.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, here's the Attorney General for our country. And he said it was his responsibility. He said it was his responsibility to visit them. While we have Fitzgerald Hines, the Minister of National Security, is telling Trinidad and Tobago it is not his job to make us feel safe. Wow. You see the difference? You see the difference? Two individuals? Both of them held, well, Hines held a very high position, and Jeremy is the Attorney General for Trinidad and Tobago presently. He said it was his responsibility. Now that is the difference between saying it's not my responsibility to make you feel safe. You see the difference, Trinidad and Tobago? This is what is bringing to all you. Now, there was an overnight legal challenge questioning the relocation of a detainee to a secured facility. However, the court dismissed the application in its entry. Speaking in the Senate on a motion to approve a prison number 2, Order 2025, on Tuesday, the AG explained that the government decision to move the inmate, citing what he called an existing threat to national security. Here it is.
Of course, everybody's complaining, their complaints about all manner of things. But these are persons who, to be frank, our intelligence services tell us were plotting some and they were an existential threat to the state days ago. So, I mean, you should understand that while I listened to them, I did so with, when I looked at them, I did so with a jaundiced eye.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, I just read back something for you so you all will understand. However, the court dismissed the application in its entry. Remember, I told you on previous show, NACTUC voiced their concern and wanted international laws and regulations and people to come and check it out because they blindfolded a lawyer who wanted to see a murder accused in Tetron. Tetron is not a prison. It's a barracks for army individuals, security officials. But because of a threat to Trinidad and Tobago, they decided to move them from prison and put them in Tetron. Tetron is only army, you know. They're not prison officer there, you know. So even the lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago don't have access to Tetron. But because of the high-risk individual being placed there, the lawyer had to be blindfolded. And the NACTUC now, we never hear them in years, all of a sudden, over 5,000 murder, we never hear NACTUC voice their voice. Some of them now finding back voice in Trinidad, you know. After a decade, they're now getting back their voice. They now stand back and say, Dada. Mama, they're not fighting back their voice. NACTOC is one. They come out now. International laws and regulation. It's Trinidad we live in. So the court now terminated the application. Tetron is for the army. What the lawyer going there to do? So the lawyer just want to walk in there, see everything, and then walk back out and open them out? No, it don't work like that. Like NACTOC didn't realize the high level of security Tetron is. It's sad, you know. When you want to brag your mouth, you must know what you're bragging your mouth about. I just be well informed before I come live on national television and brag my mouth. But nevertheless, NACTOC will learn a lesson from here onwards. In response, there is a specific call from Senator Faris. We run slot 2 already, eh? In response to a specific call from Senator Faris Al-Rawi, the greater specifics on the description of the premises, Jeremy said he was prepared to stand behind the security forces advised on matters. The AG said, while the premises is not the Hyatt, it is secured. So wait now, all of you went in Hyatt? I didn't know Tetron Barracks was the Hyatt. But nevertheless, listen to this.
On the niceties of the law, description of premises and the like similar to the human rights point, I'm prepared to stand behind the advice of the security forces. And those forces have asked us to designate premises in a particular way. The premises have been designated in that way. These individuals are secure in those premises. The premises are not the Hyatt, but they are secure in the premises.
So I just want to ask Al-Rawi if he ever went to Tetron. I don't know, I'm asking since you want description, specifics. No, these things don't come out in the public domain, Al-Rawi. You were a former Attorney General for Trinidad and Tobago. You're supposed to understand that. Security specific in a certain location don't come out for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to see and read and understand. No, that is security. Leave security where security is supposed to be. I don't know, like, you see, now Trinidad and Tobago, you see why I ask, what kind of brains these ministers have? But nevertheless, we are going for a short commercial break, viewers, but when we come back, Alexander on the drone claims when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, viewers. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander has remained silent on claims by Attorney General John Jeremy that 2 drones being spotted near Tetron Barracks were several high-risk prisoners are being kept. Question on if there will be footage to be retrieved from the drone. Alexander remained tight-lipped. Hold on. I could answer this question. If there's a drone flying in a maximum high-risk facility, and some security forces in Trinidad and Tobago, like Intelligence Department, SSA, different arms of TTPS, even the Coast Guard, if they do took charge of the drones, which the Attorney General said they have taken care of the matter, if they have footage, it will not be shared with the public. Alexander don't have to answer that. I could answer that for you. You are talking about footage from a high-end security facility. Those footage will not be shared with the public. I want you all to keep in mind, I am the Managing Director of Real Talk Security and Intelligence Service right here in Trinidad and Tobago. I have a vast network, but I don't talk about it much. Why? Because it is security and intelligence. We gather information. So Roger Alexander don't have to ask this question. He don't have to answer this question. I am answering it. I am not Roger. But I've spent over 10 years in security and intelligence. And Trinidad and Tobago will not see those footage. You know why? Because it is a part of security. It is part of security. How many of you remember when Barack Obama visited Trinidad and Tobago? How many of you remember that? How many of you remembered surveillance CCTV were being installed from the airport straight to Port of Spain? On the highway. All I remember that? I believe that was under the PNM administration when Barack Obama came. I can't remember if it was under the UNC or PNM. But security cameras, CCTV footage were placed from the airport straight into Port of Spain. You know why? There's an important man coming. So they want to be able to track his entourage every split second. Every split second, they must see that car. From Piaco International Airport to Port of Spain. They must see that car every second that I must be on that car. So don't expect to see video footage. That's madness. Listen to this clip.
Let me answer it this way. What do you expect to happen to the Jones and Chechon if they went to the army base?
Were you able to recover any footage from them?
Huh?
Would the police say anybody able to recover any footage from the drones?
Well, as I said before, there are some things we want to leave at a point because when we go forward, we want to go forward in a type of way that we are able to get the type of response that we're looking for. So we don't want to give out too much information. But again, what do you think will happen to a drone if it goes to Techon?
Common sense. Common sense. Meanwhile, there have been many criticism from persons who are now saying that the UNC government lacks a crime plan. No, I don't believe that. That criticism, that is madness. For 9 years, the PNM was there. 9 years. Anybody criticize them? Or let's say something. Say something. See, this is the difference again. This is the difference with sensible thinking from nonsense thinking. You had an administration who was there for 9 years. Hear this now. From ministers of national security, come and go under the PNM administration for 9 years. None didn't have a plan. Even the commissioner of police earlier didn't have a plan. So we now get a new commissioner of police. We now have a new Homeland Security minister. SOE is in effect. But yet you all criticizing what exactly? What exactly? I want to hear what exactly you're criticizing. A crime plan? I didn't hear nobody criticize earlier when she was there for how much? About 2 terms? Anybody criticize her? Anybody criticize Fitzgerald Hines when he said, my job is not to secure you all? Anybody criticize him? There's a difference between sensible thinking and nonsensible thinking. Or let's understand the difference now, please. However, the minister said that making strategies public will only alert criminals. Listen to this.
We want you to have a crime plan ready and available. Every time we talk about the crime plan, the criminals prepare themselves. Why are we talking about crime plan? Why not see what we are doing? And that is what we are doing presently. We have presented some things to the public, but we want them to see our work and understand what level we are at. Yeah? So if I call and tell you, listen, when we leave here, we'll be brutalizing everybody here, and here was a party, would you drink? So that's the question. We stop doing that.
So Trinidad and Tobago, what I could say is just have patience. They are in power less than 100 days. Have patience. That is all I can say. I'm not criticizing yet, you know. I waited to see performance. That is what I am waiting to see. I waited to see all the ministers, 41, settle down. I waited to see the Minister of Security settle in. And then put them to the task. So before we go any further, viewers, to our next item, I just want to say happy birthday. You have it there? So I want to say happy birthday to a good friend of mine. A very, very good friend of mine. Those of you who viewed our cooking show would know him as Jadu. Jadu in the Kalalu. You all remember that? Zoom up the picture now. Jadu in the Kalalu. A very, very good friend of mine. He used to be here every Friday when Real Talk having his backyard cook. Today's his birthday, and I want to send out a special happy birthday to this individual. He's also in the entertainment industry also, viewers. Many of you may listen to him. He's always with Navin. Always with Navin. They're singing all over Trinidad. Whether it's Pred Pal, whether it's classical, whether it's chutney, whether it's steel band rhythm, you just name it. They're all over the country singing. So tonight, I just want to take the opportunity to wish him a happy birthday. May God grant him his heart desires. May he have health and strength to carry on for the next 100 years. To my good friend Jadu, happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday. So viewers, we have a few minutes left on our program tonight. But listen to this. Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander delivered a powerful message on World Day Against Trafficking in Person, Human Trafficking. Declared that human trafficking is organized crime and calling for an end to exploitation. He highlighted the success of the Counter-Trafficking Unit, that is the CTU, which in 2014 handled over 80 reports, launched 150 investigations, rescued 31 Venezuelan nationals, including 7 minors, and arrested 9 suspects for serious offense. In 2025, efforts intensified with a major operation in Tunapuna, leading to victim rescued and seizure of $150,000 in suspected illicit funds. These efforts contributed to Trinidad and Tobago upgrade to Tier 2 in the U.S. State Department Trafficking in Person report. Now, Minister Alexander urged citizens to remain vigilant and unite in the fight against crime. Trafficking, stating, let us shine a light in the dark corners where trafficking hides. So viewers, if you know where there's human trafficking in your area, reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody, because that could be your family or friend. So viewers, we are out of time for tonight, but nevertheless, we run tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. and we'll be right back here for another Real Talk with Saeed another night. Until then, good night.